Jaro. Late is how it's going. Pizzawizard, as Snuff just said before you went, I think the wizards may have even self-disappear. So, hello everyone who may be watching this live, but, if you are watching this, back, if you're watching this back, you can skip ahead. Let's check Discord, make sure it's hearing Gyro. Talk a bit with you.
Hi, everybody.
Alright, good. Mind keeping an eye on chat for me, as usual?
Yeah, here, let me pull it up.
Yeah, this is... Yeah, apparently... I suppose it is a bit concerning. Snuff said that he's slightly concerned because he knows that he has a hard stop in less than 2 hours. But,
I see.
Yeah, this may end up just getting postponed until this evening or tomorrow evening, apparently. Depending on whether Peace Wizard shows up soon or not. But... even if it does get postponed till tomorrow, there is another game happening later today, at 21 UTC, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, which is the other last remaining game of the tournament, or rather, of the league phase of the tournament, Andrzej versus Landsknecht. I don't recall which of them is playing Hunters. I think I'm going to take a quick peek at that. That happens to be Landsknecht is Hunters. That's that game, which I'll take it if no one else does. So anyone watching, that's something to look forward to.
Bummer. Come on, Pizzawizard.
Yeah. Where are you hiding?
Yeah, maybe something came up. Maybe he just forgot and he's away from his computer.
Okay. Apparently, he's not. Is saying that he's on his way.
Okay.
I'm in the game chat. I just got an all caps message. I'm here. Guess we are about to rock and roll, as Snuff says. Yeah. So, in any event, this game is of great interest to me because, and not only to me, I'm sure that Scotsword would be here if he could, but sadly that's just not the case due to the probably has something to do with the time they chose. But the thing is, this will decide whether Scotsword and I get second and third, or first and fourth. We'll go into more detail during the week 1 supply train, but we'll see. All right.
Hey, he's here.
Yep. Here we go, folks. And last, we can begin. All right. So to review how these two players are currently standing, as of the most recent results release, which was the first half of the which included all the first 18 games of Phase 4 in addition to Phase 3. Uh, Scott's Sword was up top, but only one game above Pizzawizard, or two actually.
Okay.
I was one above both Pizzawizard and Snuff, but the best since I failed to since I ended up losing one match in out of 4 in my rematch with Skybreaker and Strider. I was unable to have the potential to solidify a second place claim, but it wouldn't have been in solidifying it. Even the 3 games that I had was enough to guarantee that I would be top 4. But in any event, as things stand, if Pizzawizard manages to win this one, as he did, it manages to win this one, he will be taking first place guaranteed. I don't know exactly how Medium Buckle stands at present, but and as for Snuff, he has as of yet has not managed to win any games this round. Although the last one was rather bizarre.
Yeah.
Anyone who hasn't watched
Very
it,
close.
yeah. Anyone who hasn't watched it, you should. And then, but
really goes to show how a win or a loss can really be determined by very, very tiny, seemingly insignificant knowledge checks.
Yeah.
You know, the game is really just a series of knowledge checks compounded onto each other.
Yeah. In any event.
Combined with bluffing, of course. Go on.
But in any event, if Snuff manages to win this, he'll be tied with wins for me. And then it's up to me and Burkles which of us gets third. But the thing is, I think that will go to Snuff rather than me. So therefore, my hope is that Pizzawizard wins this, which will make Snuff get 5th. And Mr. Green will have the superior me and Burkles of the people with 10 wins. So I think that overall it is but I could be wrong. It's possible that my me and Burkles will trump his even if he wins this. I don't know. Likewise between Scott Sword and Pizzawizard. For all I know, we could be first and third. That's the one circumstance in which he and I don't meet in the semifinals on the assumption we get that far.
Okay.
But, well, so yeah, Snuff was sitting pretty up top up until this 4th round. Up top with Pizzawizard, that is. And this is a very influential one for who is where in the top 4 or top 5, since MG currently in 5th place, or actually currently in 4th place due to superior medium Burkholz to a Snuff. So if Snuff fails to win this, MG will be the 4th person in top 4 rather than him.
A lot on the line.
Yeah, there's a lot on the line for him. For me, it's not as big a deal. 3rd, 4th, it's not the biggest deal. But that would, on the assumption that the 5th place player wins, that would put me up against Mr. Green as my quarterfinals opponent, on the assumption he defeats whoever he gets put up against in the first round. But one way or another, it's basically this game not only determines where I and Scotsword go, but it also depends who is it that gets to just skip over the first round. Which of us will it be? Myself, Scotswell, and Pizzawizard have at this point already secured our positions in, well, our, not so much our position in the top 4 as just being one of them. We don't know, it is yet to be determined which of us will be where. And I know that I'll be 3rd or 4th, but I don't know which yet. And Scotswell knows that he'll be top 2. Likewise for Pizzawizard. So yeah, this is basically the game to determine everything. To give us that last piece of data we need to finish the ratings of the top 5. Yeah, so far nothing in particular happening. Lots of Drac events to start. Juicy looking hoax. Although it would appear as if Pizzawizard has elected to start with a vampire. I think that's just Pizzawizard's style. He likes to start with a rumored vamp. If it happens, nice. If not, whatever. Especially if he starts with an aristocratic. That just seems to be his playstyle. Which, I know if it's an aristocratic, I generally wouldn't put a rumor token on my first encounter, especially if it's an aristocratic and therefore unable to defend itself. So even a non-stakeholding hunter can just walk right up and just choose to get delayed to kill it. But, well, different people have different styles. So.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, if the aristocratic's all you have, would you rather just put it down without a rumor token? Probably not. But what are you gonna put down? A bunch of trash cards instead? Because that can work out for Dracula, but it doesn't always.
It doesn't always, but
for example, let's say you start putting down saboteurs and stuff like that. Like, yeah, it can annoy and slow down the hunters, but once they comport themselves from that, they're fine, right? Like, you could get hit by a saboteur and a bat, and have to deal with an aristocratic, and then you go up against wolves, and like Dracula's typical trash trail with the spy and a bunch of other stuff. You have to be careful as Dracula, because if they deal with all that stuff and then they finish up the trail, they're just standing there fine, right? Like, yeah, okay, they're down a weapon and 2 health, but like, not that big a deal. I had a game against Strider the other night where I put down a bunch of trash like that, and it slowed him down significantly because his hunters had to deal with saboteurs and bats and things like that. But then afterwards, they were just kind of standing there like, okay, now what? And Dracula had to like run away and land by sea, and you want to leave them in a like really bad situation where you apply a lot of pressure to them.
That's
either through damage or through having them make bad choices or something.
That's actually,
like that.
in truth, precisely why oh, nice wax cylinders.
Oh, you didn't hide yet. That's another one I've been meaning to talk about. Like, we like using our wax cylinders early like that to try to find Dracula, and I'm not saying you shouldn't, because some of them really do like to hide, and that could be like free newspaper reports. But I don't know, sometimes I feel like maybe it's better to hang on to it and surprise Dracula with it later, like in the 2nd or 3rd week. You know what I'm talking about? And Dracula doesn't know that you have it now, and so he doesn't even think about it when he plays the hide card.
In my opinion, it kind of depends. If he doesn't have an early newspaper, then I for one would do it. now,
Yeah.
if you don't have an early
But like, what
newspaper,
if you draw
but
the newspaper tomorrow or the scouts tomorrow? Then you just feel silly because you revealed it for nothing, you know?
not necessarily for nothing, as it does help in the psychological war, uh,
Mm-hmm.
which the psychological war is nothing to scoff at. That you would be surprised how many
Oh,
uh,
yeah, you're totally right.
you'd be
Games are won and lost on the mental battle, the mind game of
yeah
will he or won't he play wax cylinders tonight, kind of thing.
yeah
I don't know, it's just tricky because I've played games of Dracula where you see wax cylinders early like that, and you go, okay, fine, I won't hide till I'm in Athens, right? Like, and then you get to Athens or something like that, and then you hide when it's perfectly safe to do so, and they reveal you. It's like, oh, you're gonna figure that out anyway.
yeah
I don't know. It's
but
nice to catch Dracula with his pants down because he pulled like a really cheeky hide late in the game, as they so often like to do.
yeah but as
But
in
and I
terms
know I'm
of
rambling, but like the other side of the coin is that your action becomes much more valuable later in the game, even if it's your night action, right? So like
yeah
if you're Dr. Seward and you're trying to figure out where Dracula went, you might not really have time to faff about
oh
with wax cylinders. You need to be
Bologna,
doing other things. Hey,
well,
nice.
a
Nice,
classic,
Bologna.
a very classic start. Mm.
Tried and true.
uh But here's the fun thing: will it be Athens where the rumor token is, or will it be Salonika, or for that matter, Sophia?
Or even Sarajevo, right? Did he
Yeah,
psychic block?
no, he didn't. He did all ticketing on the first night. So now, but I would definitely not do Sarajevo, as they're just naturally gonna step there on their way down.
Right.
So if I'm going to do some bluffer, it'll be at Sophia or Salonika. Uh,
Interesting here is that Dracula's wolf form, um, like the furthest he could actually be is Munich. He couldn't have jumped over them to Prague. He couldn't have like gotten through Munich. He's wolf formed from 49 at the furthest.
yeah,
Right. So there's no fear right now that he's in Munich or that he's in like Zurich or Nuremberg or Milan or that he's
yet.
in Munich already and he's going to do a wolf form. He could be in Munich right now.
But
That would actually be kind of I wouldn't hate that because if the hunters move on to you, you can maybe escape as a bat and clear your wolf form.
yeah. But in any event, to go back to it, to the subject of like the trash trail opening, uh, I actually do it precisely because I don't have something to follow up with if I like start with with a vampire, aristocratic or not. Uh, like I'm pretty sure you've noticed, Jared, that one of my stratagem tends to be like filter my hand until I have a good counter economy, and then just start laying down one vampire after another that they have to address,
Yeah.
and save my rumor tokens for then. Uh, and well,
Yeah.
it it's so far it has only failed me once this entire tournament, and that was when MG had to dig through the practically the entire event pile to find what he needed to get me. So
And it's true that like the initial rumor is not really as important for trying to manipulate the hunters because rumored or not, they're typically going to try to go for those first encounters because they need to stop the hoax.
yeah, and here's the thing. It that in my opinion they're even more likely to go for it if you don't put a thing because of hoax, precisely because of hoax.
You might be right about that.
Because I'm not sure they give you 6 or 7 points right off the bat, or what if they give you an Emmanuel Hill team right off the bat,
Mm-hmm.
plus other things. in my opinion, it's more likely to. Why on earth would that have been a wolf from hide? Come
Yeah,
on.
I know, right? What was that? Maybe he just
I'm
really doesn't have anything better to
I'm
do.
assuming
But
that's
tickets
his.
are good.
I'm assuming that his
Have
tickets
a
are.
laugh.
Yeah, I'm assuming that his ticket, that Seward's tickets are what he wants. Otherwise, that was just a plain mistake.
Yeah, it might have been sort of a
Just
psychic bond while Dracula's at sea kind of bad manners thing.
yeah.
Just for a laugh. But a wolf form hide reveal would have also been pretty insanely hilarious.
Yeah. But in any
What would have
event,
been crazier, the fact that he played wax cylinders and the fact that it actually caught Dracula hiding. Both would have been
yeah.
equally crazy.
In any event, to go back to what we were talking about,
Uh-huh.
when it comes to, you're more likely to get them to go on after stuff if you don't rumor it, in my opinion.
Uh-huh.
And
It's
that,
probably true.
which is why I just even vampire
that
or
first
no, yeah, for at the very beginning. Later on, you can get them to go chase after things that are rumored, which is, and that's how I use the rumor tokens.
That's why you put a rumored bats down. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Rumored bats, rumored. Okay, well, okay. So, since he had an early newspaper, for this, I think that I'm not sure I would have revealed wax cylinders. Now that I know that he had
Apparently
that.
he already had one. Yeah.
Yeah. So now Goldami can get to work. Although
Alrighty,
I imagine that this will.
Now I wonder,
Huh.
yeah, if this was a wolf form to Munich or a wolf form deeper into the east. That becomes the question.
Well, I would check Munich with Mina.
Yeah. He's not
I might.
hiding there.
I mean, he could be.
No, wait, he could actually be hiding there
Which is
now.
which is why I would actually consider wax cylindering now, just to make sure.
Yeah, that would actually be kind of great if it revealed him there. He's supplying. Yeah, I don't hate that. I don't hate the idea of supplying. You're gonna have Godalming start tackling the trail for the next couple days, and Mina might help out. So maybe just make sure the other two guys are really ready to intercept Dracula. Big
Yeah.
events. This is the part where you just need to kind of like tread water for a bit, so to speak. Just keep the encounters at bay
Yeah.
while you can, and then really start committing your 100. Once Dracula's in the center of the map somewhere, that's when you can commit to the big cleanup of the events, because everything's so well connected to everything else.
Interesting choice.
Yeah, it is. It really is. I don't know about that.
I think it's because, well, he sees the. Okay, I wouldn't have searched that one yet, especially not with a stake, because you will want that stake for, like, in case that's a. Not to mention that could have been a bats, or a sab, or a sab.
Would have really screwed things up. Yeah, I would have left that one alone for now. Then you
Yeah.
go on to Athens after that.
It being a mob and it being Goldaming that searched it's not the biggest deal in the end,
It worked
but
out. It worked out.
but that was definitely a bit of a risky thing to do. As
Anything that could delay you. The other thing to consider too is Godalming played a fast horse, right? So on the next turn, if he's lucky, he'll get a 2 and he can go to Athens and clear that up. Then he can deal with Bologna and Sarajevo in the turns after that. Although I guess it is more efficient to do it now, but like you said, you're lucky it wasn't something that delayed him.
yeah, if that had been a bats, then he would have needed Mina to have a sense of emergency to stop
Now
it.
Mina has to go to Athens. Fortunately, Mina does have the stake, but yeah,
Yeah.
she didn't get there without
Sense of emergency or RV, that is. But
I
well,
wonder what's in Valona. Do you think maybe the bats is in Valona?
bats,
Jack,
maybe a
protect your vampire
maybe a
shit.
fog.
See, that's the thing about the early vampire that you do get, and You might be onto something with the whole rumor token idea. It's tricky though because
Yeah, because let's
if
say that.
If Dracula does put down the rumor token and he can actually mature it and get that 7 points, that's a huge advantage for the rest of the game.
It
I don't think that's
is. I'm not
ridiculous.
saying it's not, but at the same time, you can far more easily manipulate them, by having it not be a vampire first, like due to trail
True.
wipe and such. Uh,
But like, how often do we see Dracula mature the rumored vampire at the beginning of the game?
precisely. What.
Kind of a lot. I mean, I don't want to say it's all the time or anything because it's not. Like, but we've all been there. We've all had that game where Dracula's first encounter matures as a 7 point vampire, and like, I mean, it's
Yeah.
not that hard to pull off. Like, it can happen pretty frequently.
Yeah.
It's
I.
not uncommon, I guess.
The thing I dislike about it, personally for my playstyle, is that it can all too easily wipe a good hunk of value. Uh, like a bats, uh, a desecrated
That's
soil
the
for
point
card
here.
cycling.
Yeah,
Uh,
it can also it's gonna wipe what would have been your layers, so it's gonna really
yeah,
hurt your
it helps.
encounter
It really hurt.
economy.
Yeah, it really hurts your encounter economy to do that so soon. Uh,
But the flip side of that is you can potentially leverage that fact, right? So, for example, clearing your wolf form like Pizzawizard's gonna do here if this were to mature, that can be huge. Clearing feed off the trail can be huge. Clearing sea locations off the trail can be
yeah,
really huge.
which is why
And in
it's.
that regard, your encounter economy would have already been taking that hit, right? So my point, there's ways to work around that fact and try to like get the maximum benefit with the least amount of pain to Dracula. And if you
Yeah,
can leverage that, that can
it's
be
it's
really
definitely true
advantageous.
enough, but I ain't. Basically, there are pros and cons to both methods.
There it is,
And
Munich.
yep, it was Munich.
I like that. I like that.
I'm guessing that Seward's been digging for a buried horse or something, and that's why he hasn't moved yet.
Maybe he's just recognized the fact that he doesn't really need to right now.
Well, I definitely would have
No,
liked the idea of if you had a horse. I mean, and they had the horse kind seems nice. Seems good. Eh.
he just wants to stand there and play with his wax cylinders. That's fine. That's fine. I mean, if you get some of that supplying out of the way now,
Yeah.
you
Oh,
are better off
bats.
for later.
Ooh,
Bats in Munich. That's fine
that's
play.
that could prove to be very dangerous.
Potentially. Let's see where Dracula is. But he's gonna give them a lot of information if he were to say like move her onto the next space on the trail.
Not necessarily a lot per se, as we are entering the maze where you can go practically any direction.
This is a
Uh,
good point.
I mean the
Back to our conversation before, I am sort of just playing the devil's advocate. I actually tend to agree with you that you're better off putting down things other than a rumored vampire for your first couple cards, and then maybe capping it off with the rumored vampire.
all right. I'll get him to
Um,
Marseille. Nice, nice.
Say you put down your hoax, you put down your bodyguards, then maybe you throw down like a fighter vamp somewhere or an aristocratic, and then you follow it up a couple
Oh,
cities later
okay.
with a rumored one.
I'm guessing Van Helsing has Seward's horse.
Yeah, looks like they got a trade. I'm actually a big fan of putting down a spy before a vampire.
Ah,
Oh, he's hiding in Zurich. He hid after all. Oh, and here's the spy.
he hit it just now. Yeah. Which is what,
yeah,
and this is why I was
the one.
saying that this could definitely mean a lot of trouble.
Yeah, yeah, agreed. Count Dracula's lurking nearby. You gotta watch out. I might have been wise to just have Mina linger around for a bit. Maybe supply. Maybe get a local rumors. Maybe get
Yeah.
a hired scouts or an evil presence or an ally. It's easy to say after you bumped into Dracula, but yeah, with with the way Munich is connected to all of its adjacent cities, and the fact that its adjacent cities are connected to each other,
Yeah,
makes it real
it's
easy for
very easy.
Dracula
I
yeah, he can go to Milan and then Zurich.
ooh,
He can go to
discarding a knife. Whoa.
Nuremberg and Zurich. And now the bodyguards are gonna beat her up. That
Oh,
part's revealed.
yikes.
But she's got a stake and one other thing, and it ain't a weapon. Probably not a horse either. She'd probably already be
Escape
revealed
routes?
again. Please play escape route.
And the way it seems to be hesitating on will prevent, she seems to have something. Possibly thinking of just doing a heroic leap? Just to make sure she leaves a mark?
Yeah, a little something to remember her by.
Yeah, and honestly, I wouldn't exactly blame him if he did do that.
Better than going down holding the heroic leap.
Well, let's see what happens here. Personally, I'm expecting a Heavenly Host as the last item. You haven't seen any of those discarded.
But do you play it here?
I would.
I think you do. Yeah, you don't want to get mesmerized. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's unfortunately all too easy for Count Dracula to escape you or mesmerize you when you try to escape. And now she's just a sitting duck. And the Heavenly Host won't stop a Fang, even though it can stop a mesmerize.
There is the question of, is there great strength about?
That's a good question.
Uh,
It's the Fangs.
claws.
Claws.
And there is a Heavenly Host, as we thought.
Alright, take that, Dracula. But, I mean, honestly, as long as he Fangs here, he's gonna get 2 health back for that.
Well, that depends on whether she dodges or not.
Ooh, yeah, you're right. If she dodges and he doesn't have double Fangs, he might not get the health back. He might just have to settle for killing her. But what he wants to do is kill her Fang.
Honestly, I would just escape his bat.
Really? You don't try to kill her with Fangs here? Fangs of fire? Surely, yeah, let her have it.
Up, but there is great strength, and that's precisely why I said that.
Well, hey, on the plus side, you get a point, and you get their great strength.
That is
And
true.
you got your 2 health as well.
And what's more, you can feed, try to finish her off. Whoa.
Oh. Yep. See, that's what I like, is the unrumored new vampire to surprise.
Yeah, that's definitely
Definitely
something.
big fan
If you're gonna start with, if you're gonna start with a vampire, make sure to have the second one as backup. Personally, is my opinion. Doesn't matter what type.
Yeah, this is a good strategy. Is the only thing is that you have to be ready to settle for just the 3 points. But
Yeah.
I think that's fine. I've frequently played Dracula games where instead of actually rumoring the vampires, you give the guy a funny look and you rumor other stuff to mess with them, and then you settle for the 3-point vampire, you settle for the 4-point vampire, and you do that 3 times over the course of the game. Two or 3 times. Heck, even 2 of them, right? I mean, that's 6 points. 6 or 8, right? Something like that.
6 to 8, as it could be a 3 and a 4.
Right, exactly. So you mature 1, See, look, all of a sudden he doesn't have anything to deal with this thing, and it's gonna mature.
Yes, but the
If
downside
Dracula
of
does
that,
that a second time, that's significant point.
yes, yes, but now the downside of doing that in addition to this trap for Mina, is just look at how things are for
No trail.
that'll be a zero trail if he chooses to mature it. And well,
Zero trail.
I would still mature it. It's only whatever is in Milan or Nuremberg.
And you get wolf form back, and you can wolf form here. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
you take the mature here because you get a lot of benefits from it. But
yeah,
it's
but
true though that it comes with its own drawbacks. Trying to
yeah, at
clear
least
the
in
trail
this,
multiple times.
which
But
and
the benefit is,
which is why I actually would not feed.
oh, I wouldn't either. I'd wolf form.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a
I think
lot of
you're gonna
people would
get
be
the chance
tempted to do it to finish me off and get another 3 points that way. But the problem is, look at how close both Seward and Van Helsing are. Uh, heck, they don't even need a they don't need a sense of emergency. They can get there with charred carriage.
yeah.
Go a little bit of a weird roundabout
And you're not
way.
standing on any encounters.
No encounters, no protection, and Seward and Van Helsing, you have no idea what they have. I not scratch no idea. And you have some clues, but it's on the discard pile. But they that would be a very dangerous route to take.
The classic Dracula paradox to me is that the hunters that you most want to actually get in a fight with they're the ones that have been hit by your encounters, right? Because those are
Mm-hmm.
the ones who are more likely to be damaged and more likely to have revealed cards to you so that now you have some information to go on, right? So in this example, Dr. Seward and Van Helsing, neither of them have even touched a card on the trail. And so Dracula doesn't really have any information about their cards whatsoever. Like you said, there's some clues, but I mean, you have to look at the discard pile and then just deduce from there. There's not really any concrete information. But the irony is that the ones that you want to fight who have encountered your trail are most frequently behind you dealing with the
Oh,
trail,
is this an
right?
escape route trade?
Yeah, there you go. Give her that. Okay.
Yeah, especially after that, it is just wrong
Thanks,
to
Strider.
stick around.
You're welcome. Yeah, no, don't stay. If anything, you want to wolf form to the east here, like to Zagreb, so you can get closer to Godalming, because Godalming's weaker. Like, he's beat up, right? He's one of their weaker hunters.
At least for
Get
now.
there, and if you're gonna get in a fight, get in a fight with him.
Yeah, personally, what I would do with Gul'daming,
Oh
uh,
no, he can't wolf form yet. That was my mistake.
oh, we can.
Oh, right. There's the mature. Duh. Okay.
Oh, going
Oh,
for
sidetracked.
it. I don't,
Yeah.
I don't know.
It might be a good move because you
Because
could bait the renewed vigor, like get him to play his renewed vigor and settle for suboptimal
what
results.
what I would do, is despite it being a lair, I might actually go, or no, Gul'daming has a horse, so horse, horse up to,
Here it is, speedy.
yeah, he's playing Mina's event. Oh, and it was a HL.
Oh, and she had one health left, so that was a really good call.
Yeah.
Her dying breath, she goes, "Here, send this telegraph to my friends," and then she threw herself at Dracula. Die. Well,
I would have
a
him.
little bit of give and take there.
I would
Hunter's
have.
down.
I would have. I would have. Oh, I don't know about that. You're too weak to confront me. I would have gone to Bucharest first, so that you can resupply as you are down an item, resupply and rest. For a day or two. Oh, and here
Well,
it comes.
here's the thing: is even if Dracula wolf forms tonight, he couldn't get to Budapest. So if he does do that, you could have Godalming move to Budapest and supply and heal there. And then he'd actually be in good position if Dracula did say go to 58 with his wolf form to Vienna. Suddenly Godalming's actually in a pretty decent spot, and he's supplying, he's healing there.
Yeah.
But if Dracula moves regularly by land, then Godalming could go to Vienna instead.
Oh.
From there he could assess.
Okay, if they hadn't yet spent the sense of emergency, I would suspect at the heroic leap, I would suspect that that's what Van Helsing is about to do. It's possible that he's going to go to Nuremberg, cut him off that way.
If I'm Dracula, well, like I kind of do want to move to Munich here as Dracula.
Whoa.
Oh, Van Helsing's
Okay.
still
I don't know about that one, Snuff.
As Dracula, you want to get back to that lair in Athens, right? That's where you want to be. Oh,
Yes
this is
and
huge
no.
risk.
Yeah, this
a
is
huge risk.
this is definitely risky. He knows you don't have great strength. He knows that there's no heroic leap.
There's no Sister Agatha in play. I mean, if
Yeah.
you throw a Heavenly Host at him, he might just suck your blood and heal off of this, and steal your
Well,
cards out of it.
heroic. Fanging a heavenly host is probably one of the least bad things that could happen here.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah,
Considering that's Van Helsing,
so,
rather than any other hunter.
This says a lot about this not necessarily being a great situation to put Van Helsing into.
Yeah, gun.
But maybe he's gonna shoot
Oh.
him with holy bullets, and then we'll be totally wrong. I mean,
No,
high
they're
risk, high reward, right?
all the bullets are in the discard, Adley. So we know that's
shit.
not the case.
You could have let me go on believing for just a second, you know?
The chat deserves to know the truth. If you're
Well,
not
I mean, hey,
if you're not paying enough attention to know the truth, then that's your problem.
It might be ordinary profane bullets, but he still got shot.
Oh.
And now he's heavenly hosting him. I mean, what I
Wow,
was
this
getting at
is
was,
both sides are
bullets
playing
and no
very
bullets.
aggressive.
yeah, high risk, high reward here. If you go in while Dracula's at 10 and knock him down for even more, could put him in a very, very much a losing position for the rest of the game. But it's just so risky because if Van Helsing died here, you're in a losing position for the rest of the game, essentially.
Well, that's the thing. Both of those things could happen, as it's not out of the question that Van Helsing dies yet, especially with that plotting happening.
Dracula's wounded, but he's still just as deadly.
Well, yes. I mean, keep in mind that even with all the hunters condensed, keep in mind what I did with only 1 health.
Possibly not the best hand for Dracula this combat either. We've seen claws on a plotting. Not exactly the most. I mean, claws is pretty aggressive, but claws is also something you tend to play when you're stuck with it.
Yes and no. I mean,
Yeah.
if it's
I get you. It's powerful, but do you really throw that out against Van Helsing instead of strength here? I mean, he just used sense of emergency just to move on to you.
if you don't
Right.
if you don't have a mesmerize, I would say yes, you do actually.
I would have liked strength the best there, because it stops the gun, it stops the knife.
Not
If he
not
does
when
anything cheeky, it stops that, like a crucifix or a garlic.
I disagree, and because of the possibility of Heavenly Host,
Right, but
you want to be able to.
either.
Well, I'm taking that to mean that he didn't have one.
Yeah. I'm just taking it to mean he didn't have the strength. I mean, I guess I'm just reading into it a little differently. Either way, I think he didn't draw the best hand to play the plotting like that. I mean, it makes sense to play the plotting after you see the pistol, but still, do you really want to play plotting here when you could just beat up Van Helsing really badly with strengths, and maybe if you had the other claws, you play that, or play the fangs? I don't know, I'm just sensing a weak hand.
Quite possibly.
Which, if you're Snuff and you're picking up on that as well, try to play into that, right?
Yeah, I would play pistol again next. Basically preserve as much health as possible.
Dracula can probably escape.
Strength.
Strength. There's the strength. That's another thing is maybe you don't lead with the strengths early because you're hanging on to them because you're trying to catch the weapons in the late rounds. The weapons come out in the late rounds to try to stop Dracula from escaping as a bat. Dracula knows that, so maybe he just says, "All right, I'll get beat up. I'll risk getting beat up a little bit in the first few rounds in order to dish out some damage."
I think it's time. I think it's time for Fang. He just did dodge, and unless if Van Helsing has an anti-Fang thing, he hasn't shown it yet. So
Yeah, if he has the knife here, you definitely play it though.
not necessarily. It's a guessing game between which form of forms of attack, because there's
still the claw.
yeah great strength has already been used, so it's a guessing game of will he try to bite you or will he try to kill you.
I still think knife is better because it plays to where. Yeah, he might. Well, I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe you do play the pistol to keep Van Helsing alive.
If I think that the ideal thing,
blood,
I think the ideal thing here is that he has a rifle.
Here's the knife. No, it's the pistol. Okay. The Dracula's away as a bat.
Yeah, I think the ideal thing.
That went great for Snuff.
Yes, but considering that that's removing feed, that at the same time not completely.
Right. You're right. How much damage did he do to him? 6?
Yeah, so he's gonna heal half of that, or at least have the option to heal half of that right away.
But that means that he's staying still for a turn. I think it's likely he'll escape as a bat and then wolf form, and then after that.
I think that'll go to Vienna, because why would
Castle?
Also, not only that, but I mean, look at Goldaming. I mean,
yeah.
he has only
And
2 health.
And Seward's gonna be ages before he can get to the castle. Yeah, I think you escape as a bat to Vienna here. Then on the next night, you wolf form to Klausenberg. And then on the next night, you move to the castle.
I semi disagree in that you should go Vienna, yes, but after that go Prague. That may seem weird, but it basically save the wolf form for if you do go to the castle, save the wolf form for getting out of the castle. But since there have been 2 heavenly hosts discarded already, admittedly both of them used in combat, so ow. You don't need to fear CG nearly as much as you usually do.
Yeah, maybe you bat to Vienna and then you just regular move to 11 and then regular move to Klausenberg and then the castle.
Or potentially, as I was thinking, possibly just going to what would normally be CG nuke spots in Prague and Berlin. Especially since Mina is here at the hospital. I imagine you'll have the Goldaming check Vienna.
Move Mina out of the hospital when it's her turn, that's for sure.
Well, here's the funny thing.
Blocking 11.
Well, except that if he did escape his bat to Vienna, he would be at Budapest now.
Oh gosh, you're right. I didn't even consider that.
So, okay, so he's.
So then don't do that.
Yeah, make sure to check on that first. Yeah, that's a mistake I've made several times too many.
Oh, you can't get events when you're in the hospital. That's right.
Yeah.
So even though the hospital is considered adjacent to the city it's connected to, it wouldn't be possible to draw, say, an evil presence. Reveal, oh, Dracula's adjacent to Mina Harker because he's in Budapest. You couldn't draw that. Well, this is interesting. Dracula got really injured, but at what cost to the hunters?
Mia died. Goldaman got really beat up as well. Van Helsing, Van Helsing did fine in the
Van
end.
Helsing's been better, but he's fine. Yeah. But he'll need new cards.
Yeah, Goldaman could also
If
use a bit of new stuff.
we can just mustered the strength here for a follow-up attack, that could spell the end for him.
Yeah, now that Mina has a holy circle, now we'll move out of the hospital tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. Figure out if he's been there.
Oh, what's this? Not misdirecting the bad location, huh?
Yeah, I can understand that. I mean, maybe you want to keep the escapist bat out of the combat deck.
Maybe.
Either that or maybe you're cooking up a bit of a nastier misdirect later.
Well, I mean, this means that...
Misdirect, get a wolf form going, and then misdirect the space that you wolf form from, or something like that.
Well...
Good move, yeah, she's no longer in hospital.
Okay, so he didn't go directly to Budapest after batting to Vienna. If he did bat to Vienna, of course.
Hey, Scott Sword. Hey, Werekraft. Welcome. How good is the hunter movement? Well, that's the question. That's exactly what we've been asking ourselves.
Yeah.
Can you muster the stamina for one last little push here to knock out
Because
Drac?
here's the thing. We've had a heroic leap. We've had two heavenly hosts hit him. We've had a lot of stuff get tossed at him, but great strength has been spent. Mia ended up dying. Goldamin got kind of knocked around by the new vampire that matured down in Valona. He just forgot.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, he just forgot classic. I do somewhat question the wisdom of moving on to Dracula in a one-on-one when he's standing on top of the feed card. That is somewhat questionable because it's like, no matter how much you hurt him, if he escapes as a bat, that's like he can feed again all the sooner. That being said, he hasn't actually played it yet, right? So think about it this way.
Not yet.
The feed card would be where Misdirect is. So if he waits until Misdirect actually falls off the trail before he feeds, in that sense, he wouldn't actually get any value out of it. But still, as a general rule, unless you think you're going to be able to kill him, or you definitely can make sure he doesn't escape as a bat, you don't usually want to move on to him when he's standing on top of it.
Yeah, I think that
it's such a powerful card
at,
to clear.
at the time.
And the same goes for wolf form.
Yeah, I think that the correct move was to go to Nuremberg because he didn't have wolf form back yet. Or wait, yeah, he did because of the mature. I would have just gone to Nuremberg, just try to surround him as best you can, cover multiple paths, and then, well, after the wolf form, assuming that that's what happened next. Let me see. We have only had one evil presence, and we've had 2 newspapers. We haven't had any scouts yet. Wonder where all those are at.
Wouldn't surprise me if Pizzawizard put down a bunch of desecrated soils too.
I'm not sure I like that check.
Batted from
Bad from Zurich, but now the bat location is misdirected.
right.
Oh, he's going to scan easily. Okay, I get it. Yeah, so far as horses, so far Goldaming has one, Seward has one. Van Helsing might, we don't know. But Mina didn't. Fortunately for the hunters, Mina didn't have one when she died. So, that's fine. Uh,
A lot of doubt right now about where Dracula went, though. He's got
yeah.
no shield of obfuscation here.
Yep, and that's the most effective shield of all. The more of it you have, the...
Gonna be worried about moving anywhere for fear of wasting time.
Yeah, the good news is that at this point, unless he went to Vienna and then up to Prague, we know that he did not go east, because at the time of the batch from Zurich, they were that Mina, Guldan was staying at Zagreb, and Mina was in the hospital at Budapest, which she, yeah. So therefore, if he had batted to Vienna and then moved to Budapest, we would have known the moment Mina left the hospital.
I think he might have gone for like. Dude, he could have gone into France, like Toulouse, Clermont-Ferrand. He could have gone for Genoa.
Possibly Spain. Although I personally would try to avoid Spain, considering that will almost always, especially since there's still a good hunk of time left in the game, and there's Rufus Smith around. I would. Not in Italia, so didn't go down the boot.
He didn't commit to that
didn't go too far into the east, unless he went back to Vienna after misdirecting that as the bat location, because no one actually stepped in there.
You pretty much have to check Vienna at this point, or Prague. Well, no, Vienna.
Okay, now he's feeding. Yeah, after establishing some safe distance, makes sense. The thing is, from Zurich, I would probably, my guess I'm gonna have to say is Toulouse, because that can mean either going and then just hugging the coast more or less. Scouts. All right, now this is definitely useful to have. But problem is, if you check Toulouse, chances are that's not going to be there. You have to search spots 3 spaces away.
Yeah, that's so rough. When escape spat is misdirected like that. It's several days later.
But here's
wolf though. He held on to the wolf.
Here's a rough thing. He actually could, he actually could have batted to Prague, and then went to Vienna, and then after Goldaming vacated Zagreb, gone there. So he actually could be in the east. What did you check there?
Zaragoza and Santander.
Saragossa and Santander.
He might also have gone to Nantes. And then
there's
Le Havre,
just
or Bordeaux and then Nantes, or Paris and then Le Havre.
Yeah, from Zurich, he would have had it would have to be that rumor token that's on the coast, the western coast, as he couldn't reach there simply with the bat.
I think he's in France.
Personally, I agree. I think that is the most likely situation at this point. I mean, he could also he could have batted up to Leipzig and then has gone to his favorite haunt.
Yeah. I don't think he's that way.
Yeah, you gotta check the end.
It would have required such a like delicate dance for him to work around the positioning of hunters that it's technically possible, but like kind of kooky
All right,
conspiracy
that
theory
buys them
territory.
that buys them one more day, and it. Although if this rumor token matures, if it's not a new vampire, then that's just game.
What do you do with Mia?
I suppose just go to Munich and scan Germany would be my move. Since I can't, unless she has a horse, then she can't really do much better than that, can she? I mean, yeah, supplying is another way to go about it. Yeah,
This week is wasting away. Clock's ticking.
do they have the third newspaper reports? That'd be a
Oh yeah,
very,
I could be holding on to it to reveal tomorrow.
for all we know, he had two of those. Or he had all three of them in the first couple of days of supplying.
He got a hired scouts. He had one. He checked 48 and 47.
Yeah, recently
Dracula's
he did.
there. Hyde is on the trail. Playing
Yeah.
wax cylinders with Hyde on the trail. I love it. He's just having a laugh like that. It wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, he's just enjoying himself when he can.
Fun
As
way
this
to pass.
As this has been a rather rough match so far. And another thing is that since those heavenly hosts got used, two of them. I mean, at this point, it wouldn't be surprising if Pizzawizard is just tossed down desecrated soils,
Oh, yeah.
to help him heal up.
He's a big fan of that. When does Dracula need healing the most? Right after he takes a bunch of damage. How does he take a bunch of damage? Often by eating a heavenly host that he didn't expect. So yeah, it's a good strategy. Just wait till you see those and then let the desecrated soil through.
What are you doing?
He's missed the trick, I'm afraid.
Yeah, if you need to check somewhere in Austria-Hungary, you need to check Prague. Because that is within the realm of easy possibility. From what we know. Oh, Jonathan Harker. Ah. I think that... I think that at this point, since that's a rumor token.
No, not sorry, but Dracula's not in the East. It would have required such elaborate trickery for him to have pulled that off.
Okay, if they have a surprising return,
he took a simpler route, and he didn't go into Italy, right? And you pinged 47 and 48, and he wasn't over there. So where does that leave you? Germany and France. Like, it has to be Germany.
At this point,
I'm thinking France. Because if you go to France, you're heading west. You're heading away from that.
The way it's
as opposed to Germany.
The way it's delaying on Dust Actions, I'm pretty sure he does have a surprising return. I'd say get it, equip it, have it show you where that rumor token is. Because more often than not, if that rumor token matures, then you're dead.
Yeah, if you don't. So, I mean, it sucks because Dracula might go to sea, and then Rufus Smith isn't applying. But I mean, that's nothing you can do about that. Like, you have to stop this rumor token.
Yeah. I mean, despite the fact that I am rooting for Pizzawizard, one never likes to have to watch this type of game with just no information popping up, you know?
Well, we'll know soon. I'd say
Yeah,
so.
that
It's
that
not
was
one-sided
that.
at all. Like both of them have lashed out at each other and taken their lumps.
Yeah,
They're like two boxers throwing haymakers, and now they're both kind of gassed out in the late rounds.
yeah, but this is the type of game that will favor Dracula more than the hunters. Or this is the type of scenario. So glowing, I would just rest because if this is a fire vamp, then you best be ready to face it. Yeah, this John. Normally, hardcore is not that great at this stage of the game, uh, but given what's happened, this is this is like a godsend. Considering that he missed out on the fact that he couldn't be in the East, seemingly. Uh, this will help Snuff get back on the right path, so long as he can get there in time. And the good news is he knows that unless he just hid, he knows that this rumor token is not with a hide to protect it.
Warcraft making a good point. You want to surprising return Jonathan Harker at dusk, not at dawn, because
Yeah,
he will reveal a card when it slides to the sixth space of the trail, but he will not
very,
reveal a card that is already in the sixth space of the trail.
very true. Very true.
It's a very niche but
Frankfurt.
justified point.
Okay, that's within easy horse distance. That'll be easy to. That seems like a Leipzig at to me. Either that or Cologne.
Yeah, something like that. That would allow him to misdirect Cologne on his way to Amsterdam.
Basically.
Although I don't think he did that. I think it's more likely he went into France.
I mean, we'll see. Harker will help with more and more information as we go. I mean, come on.
Sticking.
In that case, I would move him to. I would move him to Zurich.
It's a shame you couldn't just take the bloody train there. The train's so easy there. All you need is a white too. I wonder if he didn't have it, or if he didn't want to put it in the ticket pool, or what.
Well, Goldaming is more than likely holding on to at least one white one.
Sure. And the other one could be like a.
Okay, Van Helsing's
like a
on the job.
one, like a yellow one, white one.
Alright, Van Helsing's on the job.
Yeah, without horse, Van Helsing will take the train.
Garlic wreath. That's actually a pretty good time for it.
Yeah, it
especially with that.
and Lucky Five, that's amazing. Yeah, it could prevent a critical point here.
Well, it won't prevent.
Well, it wouldn't.
But...
You're right. It wouldn't actually prevent the point, but it would discourage Dracula from playing that way.
And not only did he have that, but he had a Lucky Find to back it up. Let's see what stuff got discarded.
Badass, actually. He's got 3 item cards in hand and a Garlic Wreath affecting him.
Yeah, good stuff.
Hey, Fangs, click the combat information screen, click on Garlic Wreath, and then you see the short version that it tells you. The vampire suffers 4 damage if they resolve Fangs against this hunter. That's like the abridged card text.
Yeah.
There's a lot of important information missing there.
Yeah, for instance, that claw that the vampire attempted swiping it off. For example.
Funny. It's like one of the worst.
Whoa.
It makes the card almost seem good when you read it that way.
Okay.
There's the claws. No more Garlic Wreath.
Yep.
Why you gotta play pistol, right? That's Garlic Wreath pistol. He wants to fang
What's
you.
the situation with holy bullets? One is in the new discard. And all 3 were in the previous discard, so strength and
Strength.
escape.
Escapes.
Okay, let's hope he's got a stake, which honestly it's pretty likely that he does, because I believe we only
And
saw
he didn't.
uh
The vampire couldn't get a point.
yeah, because that that 1 point from a reckless means 1 last day for the hunters.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be bad.
And that vampire layer's work is undone.
Right, now if you just stake it now, no fuss and fuss.
Yep. Yep.
I think, I don't know, Dracula's in like not or something. You know what I'm saying? He fed when he was in Le Havre or Brussels or something like that, and then he moved into not.
Hard to say. I think that
Maybe.
whatever Harker tells us next will help us a good deal.
He's not letting Dracula hide.
Alright. Goodbye, vampire.
Got him. He couldn't ambush with a fang.
Okay.
Although to be fair, because I know Pizzawizard would hate to hear me talking up Garlic Wreath in any sense. If the vampire had had a fang in the last round, it might have played it because it had already removed the Garlic Wreath at that point with his claws.
Yeah.
So I mean, if he could have fanged Van Helsing as Van Helsing escaped, but instead he played Strang.
Yeah, likely because he had played a punch after the dodge rather than trying to escape. Then, it left the impression that he was trying to fight. Uh-oh, here comes another one.
Just go for it.
If you're talking about renewed vigor, I don't know. Because keep in mind that we still haven't checked either Berlin or Prague, and he could... well, now that we know about Strasbourg, that's not as relevant, but it could in theory be Strasbourg, Cologne, Leipzig, Berlin, Prague. Unlikely, I know,
Yeah.
but possible.
This is getting to be like crunch time though.
All right. Yeah, that disposes of that idea. And at this point,
He could be hiding right now
he could be.
in Amsterdam.
Ah! Yeah.
Pizzawizard, are you hiding in Amsterdam?
Well, no, he isn't.
That would-
As we did just have a psychic scan of
Of
Germany. Yes.
Oh,
So-
I must have missed that
so-
part. Okay.
So he's not at Amsterdam.
Definitely, it is not.
So while he
Is the whole
while he may have gone to Brussels, as he hasn't unless he just moved into Amsterdam after the scan. It is in theory possible that he went Le Havre with the rumor token, Brussels, and then Amsterdam. Typical Pizzawizard.
Good point. He could have just moved there after the psychic bond. But
Ooh, letting Strasbourg mature.
do you think it's crazy conspiracy theories like that like while technically possible are unlikely? Or do you think that he just did the more straightforward thing, which is probably just go like Le Havre not or not Bordeaux, something like that, right? I mean, maybe he's even on the Dracula highway going into Spain because they searched Spain, right? They searched 47 and 48. So what's the first thing you should do? Get to 48 and then go to 47 right after that.
Tough. It's tough to say because here's the thing. I mean, it may sound all conspiracy theory, and yet that's like the type of thing that I tend to do all the time. It basically
yeah.
the way I've joked with it with Strider before is sometimes feel ouch.
That's not good.
Well, I'm not sure Van Helsing spent his Heavenly Host, and I don't think he has another one, so he wouldn't have been able to stop that anyway. At least he didn't get the card draw. So not it's not all bad. It's not all bad news in that sense. In any event, as I was saying, I've joked with Strider that sometimes the best thing to do is to do the stupidest thing possible, aka the last thing they would expect, because you can predict what they're gonna check first at this stage of the game.
Yeah.
You can at least you can at least arrange for it to be not Gul'daming and not Seward that finds you, but rather like Van Helsing or Mina, if they do find you at all. Sometimes it's just not there.
Okay, so that leaves 15, and the Amsterdam fear even. So I think he is heading to 48. Because the hunter searched 48, so I think he was like, all right, I'll go slink off straight there along the little trail of little cities.
Yeah, I would
check Toulouse.
Yep, that's where they found the rumor token. It is a bit interesting they didn't search Paris, because, like, if Seward ends up having a stake for, although, considering that there was no ambush, I might be tempted to think that that's an aristocratic, and not show a stake even if you have one. Dangerous though that is.
Hope it's not another desecrated soil.
I doubt he'd have put a rumor token there. I expect that.
Oh, Paris.
Yeah, that's definitely more likely.
Crazy thing is with the right ticket. Oh, I mean, Van Helsing was dealing with encounters at night. He was staking a vampire. I get it. But it is crazy to think with the right ticket you can actually get from Frankfurt to Paris.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, Snuff just needs to zone in on Drac to an extent.
It goes on too much longer. I mean, it's not just like over. You can still catch Dracula in a situation where he lands from sea, and you can still CG him for a lot of inconvenience, right? And then he goes up to 9, and then he goes up to 12, but he's been CG'd and forced onto a hunter or something like that, right? You still tackle him that way. But short of that, you kind of have to do something like now. Yeah. Like now. So seriously, first thing in the morning, you have to pull the trigger on Renewed Vigor, just like hope you find him somewhere in Spain. Have Van Helsing supply.
On the assumption he doesn't go to the sea right now.
Because if you don't, I mean, you're just gonna get hit by like bats or saboteurs or or something, whatever it is. It doesn't really matter what it is at this point. It's gonna wreck your day.
I expect that he'll be at Lisbon. Go Toulouse, Saragossa, Santander, Lisbon. Go to both spots that they checked. It's definitely time to pull the trigger on the RV if you have it.
Yeah. You could. Gosh, the hunter positioning is so unfortunate right now. But I mean, if you get good luck on the horse rolls, Gul'daming can get all the way to Lisbon.
In my opinion, what's more unfortunate is the item situation.
And the fact that Dracula just healed for 6 health, which was the amount of damage Van Helsing did to him in that combat.
Yeah.
He's just healed from all of that. So brutal.
And he's also healed from part of what Mia did to him. So, yeah, this is just looking good for him. So it's definitely very unfortunate for the hunters. Yeah, like you said, they just had to pull the trigger on this to have it all that much hope. Hmm.
Well,
Excuse me.
as I said, it's only Thursday, right? You have some time to like force him out by seeing
Yeah.
he
Although I
suffers a little
expect.
damage as he moves. But yeah, it would be a real long shot. You would have, with all the heavenly hosts kind of having been used to.
Well, that's the thing. They may well have.
There was a
Two of
yeah.
them were used, so we know that they have at least one. And they could easily have recovered. I'd be surprised if they haven't recovered at least
True.
one of them.
That's true. They've
As
sunk through a fair bit of the deck.
they've gone through over half of the what was cycled back. So I'll be very surprised if they don't have at least two by now. I mean, it's possible that the last one is buried, but if that's the case, oh well. And looky here, we've got the second surprising return on Mina, so that she can summon Rufus the moment he puts out to sea.
Yeah. Could be useful.
Yeah.
Gosh, none of that damage was able to stick. Desecrated soil it's like so important to not let that mature at certain stages in the game. It's like almost as bad as a hoax. Dracula getting 3 health, like when he's really damaged and needs the health, it is like not acceptable. You know, it's almost like just hang on to the heavenly host until you can clear up the soils, because otherwise, what's the point? I mean, with exceptions, of course, right? Like, if you can kill him here and now, then you should go for it.
Yeah.
Obviously.
I mean,
But,
due to the circumstances of like when they spent the host, like Mina was about to die, so we would have lost it anyway. So
oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Van
I'm just
Helsing is
thinking,
the one
like,
that's a little like, should you have even dreamt of it in the first place? I don't know.
if, let's say, like, you throw out a heavenly host, right? And Dracula he calls it out with a bang. You get bite token, Dracula gets 2 health, and you lose the heavenly host. And now he goes around and he puts down desecrated soils.
There's the sea.
And they mature, and now he's gained 5 health out of the situation, right?
So,
It's
do you summon Rufus right now, or do you wait till dusk so that you can try to figure out what port he left from first? Because if he went to South Atlantic, then Rufus will certainly have a time to work. But if it's Mediterranean, as Drac, I wouldn't be all that afraid to just wolfworm right ashore right away. So I think that I would have I would have waited to try to narrow down what port he left from. Possibly send one of them to Barcelona, and another to potentially to. Oh, well, this will tell us right now. Just check both Mediterranean ports, and you'll know.
It's a good idea. Yeah, if it's not 4 or 1, then you know that he definitely left from one of the other 3.
Okay, so now I mean, as Drac, as I said, I wouldn't be all that worried about just wolfworming ashore, back onto the mainland.
True.
And then making for that.
Whereas, I mean, your only other option is to move at least 2 additional sea zones, which is going to be another 4 damage, which puts you at 7.
Yeah, had he left into the South Atlantic, then he will always go at least one more sea space, and therefore Rufus will. But since it's
Because it's the
Mediterranean,
Mediterranean, you may as well just kind of
that's
go
that's
for
just
it.
that
Just
that's just
let
that's
the
just
wolves
a
out.
that's just a different story altogether. So,
But where do you wolf to? Genoa? Milan?
probably
I think
Milan.
Milan is like the quote unquote safe place.
Uh,
But if he does that, you can renewed vigor and catch him in Milan with everybody in Turin.
I mean, or for that matter, you can wolf form like back into Spain if you wanted to try. But here's the thing: the hunters are probably going to be advancing into Spain to clear up all this stuff, right? So therefore, it won't be too clear, especially since the horse economy doesn't seem to be the best. Like what to do. Basically, the longer
Dracula could like wolf form to Granada and then go to 12 from there, right? And now he has a sea he could retreat to again.
or for that matter, just go straight to Genoa, so that if they do try something like that, and
Just take to the Turanian Sea.
yeah, or possibly just land at Cag, toss another thing down.
Yeah.
I think that actually perhaps what I would do is I would go Tyrrhenian, but I wouldn't go Ionian yet. I would then wolf form to either Venice or Bari, depending on which. Depending on the situation.
I mean, what's this out? 11. Maybe you do just land at Cagliari and then feed there. Because that'll be Friday and Saturday, and then Sunday you can go back to sea and then reassess from there.
Yeah.
Or you could even like hide Sunday night or something like that. Or no, you'd want to go to sea on Sunday or feed on Sunday.
Yeah, I don't. I just don't like how this looks for the hunters.
Agreed. But he's not going to get any more help. You gotta hope that you deal with any hoaxes here, because I wouldn't be surprised if those were in the mix. Wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. And a hoax could obviously seal the deal for Dracula here.
For sure.
That would be enough for him to just immediately win, potentially. The aristocratic.
Yeah, especially with Sewer now being delayed, I would just wolf form ashore now.
Yeah, that's a good idea, because you got a delayed hunter in the mix. But
in fact, I would actually, after clearing the Zurich lair and making Clelmfran a lair in its place, I would go to Zurich to see how close he's paying attention to the lair situation.
Yeah, and the thing is, a wolf form would mean he'd have so many options of where he could be. But here's the thing: you have to watch out when your opponent's back is against the wall, because they have no other options, and maybe he will just immediately renewed vigor and just be like, well, I might as well just charter carriage Van Helsing to Zurich and see if he's there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when your opponent has no other options, they'll just do whatever they can to check certain spaces. They might just say, well, if he went to Spain, I guess that's GG. Let's check these cities and make sure he isn't like going straight for Munich, right? That kind of thing. Going straight for Venice, that kind of thing. Yeah, Seward's delayed, but with renewed vigor and the right other cards, 3 hunters could potentially jump him. But he's moved by sea anyway.
Yeah, presumably Tyrrhenian, as South Atlantic would be rather weird.
Presumably. seems kind of strange to like. Yeah, what's he gonna? I don't know. You never know. What's he gonna do now? Land without wolf form and bait the hunters into thinking he's in Naples or something like that, or Genoa maybe. Meanwhile, he's actually in Santander. That would actually be kind of brilliant. The only problem there really is money trail.
If you do have a target carriage bouncing around, I would have the. If Van Helsing does have one, I would have him use it to go as that can get him all the way to Venice. Uh,
Oh wow, you're right. I didn't even see that. He takes sort of the long way around to Venice.
that just gets him in far better position.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11
Because then
Drac events in the
if
discard.
Dracula does wolf form from the Turanian, you're in a better spot. And if
Albeit
doesn't
4
draw the
HP
land,
is not
you're in a better
exactly the
spot.
best situation.
Yeah, but you gotta work with what you got here.
Yeah.
This isn't the army. This is 4 volunteers.
Do you just let what's down there go?
Gosh, it depends. You might have to. Because Seward's the only one who can deal with Saragossa tomorrow. I mean, you could have Godalming do it, but I don't know. He's in a better position with his train, right? He's in Bordeaux, so he could get more places if he had a chartered carriage. I don't know. Depends. Depends on the card distribution here.
I guess he's trying to position for it in case he's heading towards to Britannica.
Yeah, I guess he's respecting that fact.
I mean, I could jump on Saragossa now. Whoop.
A single,
Okay.
well, yeah, Scott's sort of raising a good point, is that a single vampire mature here could spell the end. I mean, if Dracula goes up to 10, well, then that's that. You kiss the game goodbye.
Yes.
So maybe you do
And
sort of sacrifice one of your hunters in order to go try to deal with it, while the other 3 try to kill Dracula.
yeah, and the new vampires are both in the discard, so we know if there is a vampire, it will be a 4-pointer.
That sucks.
The good news is we know exactly what he did in Spain.
Yeah, he went to Madrid in between those 2, right?
Yeah.
What sea zone do you think he's in? I don't know.
I reckon
It'd be very
Turanian.
clever to go South Atlantic, but yeah, I think you're right.
This is the stage of the game where, as Dracula, you start doing the more obvious stuff, because the obvious stuff is tends to be the more efficient stuff.
It's safer, quote unquote.
Yeah, with the
wolf form to Venice, maybe.
Wolfhorn to Venice, Bari, or yes, given the situation, just move to Ionian. They're far away from the east. You have plenty of time to
At
just.
the same time, you're threatening like you're in the North Atlantic.
That too. I might actually be tempted, ridiculous as this may sound, is to go to Black Sea as well.
Oh yeah, no, I got a feeling that's what you were gonna say after the first half of the sentence. Yeah, one more season isn't the craziest idea in the world here, because
Yeah, but there is the
if
threat of
you're
CG out there, and that would
if
at
you
this point
are
kill you.
if you are in the northwestern seas, they don't know which one you're in now. Irish Sea, English Channel, North Sea, they haven't a clue. And if you're in the Ionian, they don't know if you're in the Adriatic or the Black
What's
Sea.
the big deal with Tukulamagan horses today?
Yeah, the horses.
Slow roll after slow roll, all on Guldaming.
Yeah, that one more sea space would actually really create a lot of
Yeah,
different
but that,
complication, and it would really split the
but
board in three.
but then there's the problem that you named. That he that he that he may just play to his outs and and out of desperation just fling it out there.
Yup, just play to the out, exactly. Play a CG, cover up 17 and
Because
56.
that would be GG for
And
the
then
Hunters win.
yeah.
If that were to happen. So I'd say just Wolfmore Shore. Wolfmore Shore this turn. Whether it be in Ireland or not. I mean, if you win Ionian, then yeah, just Wolfmore Shore. I mean, really you don't have to obfuscate all that much when you're so far ahead of them. I would say that
You do if you're trying to dodge CG, though, right?
yes, but basically play around CG, as that's like the one way they can reach you right now, so to speak. If you went Ionian, then if you went east to the eastern seas, then just Wolfhorn Shore, because as then ein OL to the Hunters, you can't CG me. If you went if he's currently North Atlantic, then it just moves one more. I would say English Channel, and then Wolfhorn to Swansea the following day. Especially since that is perfect timing for the thing, for Fury stage. Okay. Not what I was expecting, but okay.
But it's as you said, the longer the game goes on, the more likely it becomes that Dracula is going to do the most safe and efficient, obvious thing.
Yeah,
right now, it's like Ionian with a wolf form.
Yeah. In fact, so much so that if I were Snuff, I might be tempted to just play CG now. Block off Salonika, Athens, put the permanent one at Constanta, force him to go one more C, just limiting IDS at this point. Because at this point, you may just, as the Hunters, you may just need to accept that you're not going to win. Because...
No. It depends on the cards. With the right cards, you can still do it.
Yeah. However unlikely it is at this point, but yeah.
Sure, yeah.
There's still...
on the unlikely side, for sure, but...
And, here's another thing. There's still one more Reckless that has not yet been played.
That's unfortunate. But there is for that. But hey, the horses are working.
For now, at least. But that may well just be too little too late.
Yeah.
Just Star, he's got at Sofia, then next he goes to Bucharest, and then once he's at Bucharest, CG is no threat at all. Due to how much time is left.
Well,
Or
look, if Godalming goes to Genoa right now, then tonight he could get a 2 yellow, or he could play a chartered carriage. Then the next day
yeah,
he's in
it is. It
somewhat
isn't
more
over.
relevant position.
It isn't over. Point taken. But
Seward can horse right now into Vienna. Where's the grab? Threaten to move closer to Dracula tomorrow. There's chances. There's chances here.
yes, I don't think I don't know that. But
And Dracula would be wise not to do anything cheeky here, because if let's say he's trying to like dodge hired scouts, or he's trying to like avoid ally search, like that wouldn't be smart, because
yeah,
the
that's
hunters
that's
can't
stuff for the
really
early game.
afford. Yeah, exactly. The hunters can't afford to like stand around and continue to supply for that stuff at this point. They're committed to having to do something here and now. So you should simply move as far away from them as humanly possible.
Yeah.
Or humanly possible.
That's essentially why my stratagem can often be so effective. It forced them to because I forced them to spend so much more time early on. Uh, goodness. Uh, on just
That's
clearing stuff with and not getting them. I dodged the scouts and the stuff by not having them not draw them. Okay, it was Ionian, but now what's at Madrid? And does Mia have a ticket to get there? Because the sense of emergency isn't enough.
Yeah, if Madrid's an aristocratic or a reckless, then
it's game over right here and now. Okay, yeah, that's a nice one. That's a nice rail. And if she has a charred carriage, she can get as far as Szeged. So
Yeah.
if that isn't a vampire, or
Or she could take a train to 58 tomorrow, and she's holding sense of emergency.
yeah, that
So
that would
Dracula ends up
that works too. But it's nice to be a little bit closer, so that ideally she can use her horse to get to him, not having to take damage.
Yeah, but if you have to renew vigor, that's the only way she can get there, I think. Unless you have a chartered carriage. Yeah.
Well, one way or
You
another.
can chartered carriage and horse, right?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah, I think that the hunters find themselves in this situation because of jumping Van Helsing on him like that. They spent all their gas, all their first batch of gas too early. Just didn't have the follow up. Had he waited 1 or 2 days, Seward might have been able to get into the fight as well.
Yeah. 4 damage seems like a lot, right? Like 4 health. Like Dracula still have 4 health left, right? Seems like a lot, but with Seward there, you're right. Or even Godalming, that 4 health would be like nothing, because they land a knife or 2 guns or a punch and a knife.
I mean, Gul'dan was seriously injured at the time, so I'm not.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
you're right.
count on that one, but Seward, on the other hand, he was still fresh. He needed to wait. He was a bit overeager in jumping into the combat.
It really just goes to show the value of the 2-on-1 fight.
Yeah.
1-on-1, because when somebody is getting in free damage on Dracula, it's such a game changer. That 4 health that he survived with would be like nothing.
Yeah.
He would get shot with holy bullets, or he would get punched and stabbed or something. Like somebody would be wailing on him with something. Is the
Yeah,
idea.
he wouldn't have. I mean, he would have been lower, which means that possibly he wouldn't have it. He at least would have been lower. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, he might have survived at 1 health or something like that, but I mean, the whole game would have been different. That's not the point. The point is that even if a one-on-one goes really well for you, you have to have the follow-up to finish it off, right?
Yeah, you had to.
Dracula can
Yeah,
just
you have
rubber
to.
band his health all the way back up.
Yeah, you have to have the resources to follow up your first low, which I definitely respect how he did that. That bats into the ambush with Mina. That was definitely well done. But
For sure.
mm, but on the other hand, Van Helsing charging in like that with sense of emergency of all things. Up CG. Yeah, I imagine that he'll place one at Bucharest, one at Varna, and one at Salonika. Okay. A bats. It's a place of bats, for all it matters. So now I would.
Right, you get to look at it.
I mean. I would have blocked Bucharest, as that just has more options after.
Yeah, if he goes to 56, then he has to go to 17, and then he has to go to 10, right? Or hide. So you could corner him there if you had to go that way. Maybe you're right. That might have been a better call. At this point, you're not really concerned about him going to the Black Sea and getting away that way.
Personally, I would have put the permanent one up at Bucharest.
Keep it a little more relevant, yeah. Then you put the other two in.
Yeah, who cares if he stays
55.
at Sofia? Then
46. Yeah, he can stay there. That's fine. He's gonna have to hide or.
I would have done permanent at Bucharest with the others at Varna and Salonika. Or rather Varna and Valona, I suppose. It's hard to say. An RV with like an excellent weather would definitely help. Oh. Yep, Reckless Vampire. That's GG. GG, well played. That's it. I mean, this is of course good news for me, as this means I score third instead of fourth, but in the overall standings of things. But nonetheless, that was not exactly the most pleasant game to see.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't that one-sided. It really wasn't.
Yeah.
Pizzawizard took on a lot of risk and got punished in a one-on-one and all that, but he smartly played for the bounce back, for the Dracula health comeback, but he didn't go for the castle. He put down annoying desecrated soils and stuff, and
yeah,
really
took
paid
a leaf
off
out of
for
my
him.
took a leaf out of my book there.
Good game. Good game.
Well, let's see if we can get them in here. But post game chat at post game chat. If so, it will come to VC3. Let's see if they.
You chat him up, buddy. I gotta take a break. Before I.
All right. Well, in that case, before you leave, there is another game scheduled for 21 UTC, 5 p.m. Eastern time for the final game of the league.
Cool.
between Landsknecht as Hunters and Andersot as Dracula. If no one else ends up taking it, I'll stream it. But so stay tuned, folks.
Cool.
Bye bye.
I'll be in touch.
Okay, Snuff says he's gonna come. Alright, yeah. I imagine that Snuff will be filling out the post-game form. So that he can practice what he preaches about, filling out the form immediately. But in any event, thank you everyone for watching, and catch you next time. I'm here. I'll include my post game chat with them in the stream, but you're definitely under no obligation to watch that. Hello? I cannot hear you yet. If you said anything. Whoops. Well, Jaro was co-comming with me, but he has something else to attend to, so post-game chat will just be me. But the stream's still. But we think that what went most wrong was that you didn't wait with Van Helsing to. You definitely responded nicely to his ambush with Mina, giving as good as you got. There. Mina. Yeah, Mina died early. Yeah, she. Oh, did she lose a horse? Didn't see that. Okay. There wasn't any horse in the discard so far as we saw. Alright. let me look into that. Let me see. Go ahead and go talk a bit. Let's see if I can. Oh, well.
Am I
Go
talking
ahead.
now?
Yeah, it should be. Oh, I see. I see because I don't have that source in that outro screen where it's showing the hunt is over and such. Go ahead and talk a bit. See if they can hear you now. Uh.
Check 1 2 3 test. Yada yada yada.
Uh.
Anything else? Can anybody hear me?
Uh.
People in the chat. Oh, Strider says you hear me now.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
So let me just kind of run through the thoughts we just talked about the last couple of minutes. I think in this game, first of all, I'm just gonna say I am really tilted after yesterday because I really don't want to have to play this first round of knockout. I would have loved to have a bye. I'm gonna have a super busy couple of weeks with work. Not great.
Yeah, that was a rather brutal thing that happened
This is
yesterday.
just when there's an old saw when there's an elephant in the room, introduce him. That is my elephant. That is my snuffle of the day. It's ugh. Setting that aside though, now that I've just broached that, in this game, you were talking about how my fatal mistake, I think, in your view, was something about Helsing, or
Yeah, we believe that your fail mistake was actually sending Helsing there, uh, for a one-on-one. It had you simply waited 1 or 2 turns so that you could hit 1 or 2 turns so that you could have assembled a 2-on-1. That might have given you that extra bit of oomph that you needed to finish the job. In our opinion.
So my recollection was, at that point, I thought about that, but I was thinking like, okay, he's gonna get his wolf form back. He's in a space Zurich where wolfing can be quite effective. I'm like, I know where he is. I have a hunter who is well supplied. I could get in there and do some damage. And I think the better thing I could have, I still think that was a decent gamble to take. He didn't know what items I had. You know, I could do a bunch of damage and just really put him on the ropes. And I think the problem in that was I had a speedy telegraph that I could have used, and I could have made Seward the one to go in, which would have been a lot better, not only because he would have had one extra item, but because his health would have been 2 points higher than, or no, would have been slightly higher than Helsing, so he would have been out of kill range, and I would have felt more confident playing another weapon, say, where where I did not do so with Helsing quite as much at the end. I could have actually played I mean, it wouldn't have killed him, but I could have stopped the escapist bat with a knife. Helsing did have a knife. I
Oh.
almost played it, but I was like, if he claws me here, I'm dead. I mean, I know he knows I have a
Yeah,
pistol,
we were
but
musing that was a guessing game between what form of attack will he use, if at all. Uh,
right. So
as
I
either you get bitten at the time it was either you get bitten, then you uh uh uh.
Oh, Pizzawizard here. What's up, buddy?
Hey there.
Hey, how's it going? Sorry, I had to run right after the game because I really had to go to the bathroom. But I'm back.
All right.
Everything's great.
Well, well, good. GG, you well played, Pizzawizard. I think that we were discussing that we thought that Jara and I thought that Snuff's biggest mistake this time was sending Helsing into battle you 1-on-1 without having the follow up.
Well, I thought it was really interesting, but I think that from the onset, looking at it like he has 6 HP, he has 3 items versus me who has 10 HP, I think it looked pretty bad. I, however, thought you played it very well, Snuff. Like, you did 6 damage to me.
Yes.
You took 2, I think.
And I didn't die.
Right,
yeah.
You took 2 damage. It was crazy. Like, I was like, oh my god, he's gonna 1v1 with Van Helsing? Give me this fight. I will take it. I was like, what does he have? Does he have planned ambush? He doesn't have planned ambush? I'll kill him. I'll win. And then you did 6 damage to me, and I was like, oh no.
Yeah, it definitely would have done a good blow in the psychological war, for sure.
Couple of things. So one, I was just counting on before you came in. I could have, if I had done it better, used a speedy telegraph to make it Steward the one to go in, which would have been better. So, but I realized that after the fact. But you're right. I think I did play the combat guessing game well. I actually could have done a little bit more damage. I almost played knife when you escaped as bat, so that would have brought you down to 2 health, which would have been very helpful. Um, but yeah, I think it was a risk worth taking because my thinking was that I didn't know how long it would take me to supply back up, and I had you in a position where I could like get you on really low health if I got a little lucky with combat, which I did. So I
Oh,
thought
you
that
played really
was
well. Let's
worth.
not call it luck. You played it very well.
No,
Yeah.
there was some luck in terms of like guessing what you would play in terms of combat, which is not always my strongest
Yeah.
suit. So that could have been an early GG. So now what ended up happening is I ended up getting the white one I lost very quickly. I had actually drawn the 3rd horse by then, so I already got another horse and then the deck reshuffled and I got the horses back relatively quickly. So I ended up not really needing to do that. But like it ended up working out well because Helsing didn't die. I ended up getting the resupplying that I needed. I ended up getting in a position where I could stake the vamp that came after it, although it obviously was quite close. I maybe
Yes.
could have played. I maybe could have done some more supplying
Yeah.
or done a scan or something. But it's really
But
hard to like when you see that ticking clock of that vamp going closer and closer. You know that's a vamp that's gonna kill you. Um, I have to kind of juggle a lot of different things at that point to make sure I kill
yeah,
that
which is
vamp.
precisely how a good Drac plays. As Scotsword always says, the way to win as Dracula is to give the hunters too much to do at once. Basically, I I know that he doesn't say it in those precise words, but nonetheless,
No, he
that's
does. He uses those words. You're right. I think he's used those words, and it's true.
but
Um,
another. And there are definitely a lot of different ways to think about it, but nonetheless, Gyro and I still think that we're still thought that uh in the long haul, sending Van Helsing in like that, especially since it cost you a second Heavenly Host, which could have been used to deal 6 damage another way by destroying the soils. Uh,
I think it's
uh,
demonstrated. If he doesn't fight me there, my plan, by the way, Snuff, which I will admit you completely derailed when you torpedoed into me like that. My plan was I saw Lord going on 2 HP coming back, and I was like, okay, I can just move to Munich. Nobody can get to me in Munich. It's kind of far away from Seward and Van Helsing. I'll just move to Munich. If Godalming's gonna horse to Munich, that's fine. I'll fight him there. If he's not gonna horse to Munich, then I'm delaying him, and he's gonna have to go somewhere like Bucharest instead. Like if you wanted to resupply, because I only had 2 items. But then when I was at 4 HP, I was like, this plan does not work anymore. Because now, number 1, Van Helsing is right next to Munich, so he can get there next turn. 2, Seward is now in Marseille, I think. I think he moved to Marseille, I believe. He got
yes.
closer, so he could now get to Munich. And then even if, let's say, Godalming does run into me, now I'm at 4 HP against Godalming. I don't even think I want that fight. I guess if he's at 2, I want that fight. But because he moves first, if he finds me in Munich, somebody else is gonna get there. Like I am a dead man if I.
Yeah.
If Van Helsing in,
Well, no, you wouldn't be a dead man. You'd be a dead vamp. Thank you very much. There's a
I'm-
difference
I'm-
between the species.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, um,
But
so I think that plan makes a lot of sense, P-dubs. And of course, you could always, if I don't land on you, as you said, you delay me. And again, at any point, you can wolf form and put me into that cycle of, you know, needing to supply and then find you again, which I ended up having to do, but I don't know.
yeah,
Jonathan Parker was actually an MVP. Like everybody says, not a good ally. I think he saved your bacon because I don't think you were
yes,
gonna find Frankfurt. Frankfurt is so out of the way.
yeah. Frank, as Scotsword has said, Frankfurt has just like Vienna was the MVP location of last year's league. Frankfurt has usurped its place this time. One of
Yeah.
my favorite spots. In truth.
You could have guessed it. I guess if you hadn't had Jonathan Parker, you would have started like trying to guess where it was. But there's so many because it's 3 spaces away from Zurich. There's so many like different lines of play I could have taken there. Like I didn't envy your position. I think that you did the right thing of just sitting and supplying. I think that's the only right play actually.
Yeah.
In
I
this
kind of
Part-
situation.
split the baby because I started searching like the east. I did the Higher Scouts in Spain, which was really
Yeah.
nice to get
Oh,
right
yeah.
there.
That was actually perhaps that was even worse than what we've already discussed. But the thing is, you ought to have known that the East was already ruled out because at the time that he batted. At the time that he batted, Gulani was sitting at Zagreb, and Mina came out of the hospital before he misdirected the bat at location at Budapest. So you actually should have known that he couldn't be further into the east. So you actually just were just you were
Oh,
actually
that's
chasing
annoying.
shadows. You're actually just chasing ghosts there.
Alright,
So
you
you
got me on that one.
so you did actually waste a few days there, and perhaps it is that more than anything else that really cost you this match.
That definitely is an error that could have mattered because I would have. That puts Seward out of position. I could have jumped on Drac when he was weaker had I not done that. So that is a good point. I didn't catch that.
I do think
What
that
else?
eventually the East is really appealing to me from that bat location. Like the only reason I didn't end up going to the East was because I was looking at the bats and I saw that Mina was gonna go to the Budapest hospital, and that was what kind of clicked for me that I didn't really want to go East because that would mean that Mina was closer to me.
Yeah.
But I think that just like looking at the board of where Godalming, Van Helsing, and Seward are, and if like Mina is not about to respawn in the hospital, I think going East is really appealing there because I've killed Mina. That's one horse gone. I know that her tickets were somewhat valuable because you discarded a knife to keep them, which means that she probably had at least one white one in her. So if I'm in the East, the rails are terrible over there, right? And the horses are going to be a little bit crippled, at least in my head, although you said you got the white one back very fast, so wouldn't have worked out that way. But I
No.
think that checking the East does make some sense, unless, of course, it's been entirely ruled out. But it's difficult to remember that, right? It's like
Yeah.
one person
The
was in the
only
space one day,
the
and then
only possible Eastern play that was due to where Goldaming and Mina were when they were when you batted was actually you batting to meet at Vienna and then going north to Prague, or like if you had timed it just perfectly, batting to Prague and then coming down to Vienna, and then as soon as he vacates Zagreb, go there. So it was possible, extremely
Point taken.
unlikely, but
Point taken. Point taken.
yeah.
I agree that with the information you've given me, that was not the way I would have done it had I realized that, for sure.
Yeah.
What else is interesting about this game?
Batting Mina, I really liked that.
Oh,
I was actually setting it up for a while. I was hoping she would go sooner, but then she went to, I think, Zagreb instead.
the reason I did that is I had almost perfect horse economy, but obviously I was quite certain that was a vamp in Athens, and so what I just, because 7 points is a lot, I was thinking, okay, I can just move to Zagreb. I had Godalming, who was going to be the one. They both had stakes, so Godalming was going to try to stake the vamp in Athens. That was my preference. And if he could not get there, I was going to have Mina, who was in Zagreb, sense of emergency and stake the vamp instead.
That makes sense.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was thinking, okay, after that she can check Munich, and I just didn't think of the um, getting batted into a high Drac possibility. Um, in hindsight, maybe the better play would have been to let Mina take the horse and Godalming be backup. That might have been better. Um, although
Pros
at
and
the
cons both
time,
ways.
at the time, right? There's risk both ways. I mean, it could have. I didn't necessarily want to get rid of the sense of emergency, so
Yeah.
and obviously,
Basically, you made the choice because Mina was the one who had the sense of emergency, more or less.
yeah, I can't remember if what I had done. I think
But
that's right.
but Gyro and I really liked how you executed your response to the ambush that Pizzawizard orchestrated. You first used great strength to make him have to suffer a bit for ambushing you, and then you heroic leap him when she's down to 1 HP. That was
She
very
would
well
have
done.
died anyway. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
very
I
well
traded
done.
anything. I traded as much useful stuff off of her as I could by then.
Yeah,
So
we noticed that
I
too.
I think I had wanted to. I think I wanted to make it so that the heroic leap was revealed. I wanted to do that, but there was like I would have had to have. I think I had the choice to either. She had, I think, at that point, Speedy Telegraph revealed,
Yes.
and I could have given her. Held against a stack hand at the time, I think. So I was definitely giving her the heroic leap. And then I thought about giving her money trail and taking the speedy telegraph just so that she could purely so that she could reveal the heroic leap, and maybe that would dissuade Pizzawizard from taking the company. Might move, but I was thinking, well, he might still do it anyway. I think I'd rather keep the money trail than the speed telegraph. I think the other thing Helsing had at the time was like consecrated grounds, so I
Oh, so you
couldn't
found that
trade that
easy,
one.
huh? So you found that early, huh?
Very early, yes.
Very
Very
but
early
the,
CG.
the thing that was really missing for you was RV, seemingly.
Oh, yeah, I got RV quite late. The CG, the other thing is, we were talking earlier about what would have happened had I not gotten Harker. At that night phase, I would have used CG just to search the trail. So that question that was asked earlier. That is what I would have done. I also had Hypnosis, and I thought about using it earlier, but I was thinking, okay, if he's around the middle of the map, and
That's not all
Hypnosis will
that.
only
That's
find
that's not exactly the most reliable way to
not
do
that
it.
useful, not that useful in that situation, and I needed to find the first space he went to, not the space he was at that time. So I was
Yes.
thinking hypnosis in that situation wouldn't have actually been all that useful. It might have even been
I think hypnosis. I think that hypnosis
confounding.
after the bat might have been in order. Actually.
Mina was dead at that point, right? Mina was dead.
Hypnosis
Playing
after the
hypnosis.
bat.
Like after I escape his bat, but the problem is Mina's in the hospital at that point, and there's a chance that I was even in Budapest waiting for her to come out of that hospital. I don't know if that's why you didn't move her out the first day, was because there was some chance I was sitting there.
We suspect that was the case. Yes.
That is, and then I drew the whatchamacallit, the
Holy Circle.
Holy Circle, and I felt comfortable leaving after that. I don't know. Maybe I should have just risked it because but I mean, a night combat with Mina, if you happen to get lucky and get the fangs on Mesmerize and she dies, that'd just be hugely problematic.
And me
unarmed Mina is so easy to kill, and you're right, healing with the fangs too is a problem.
Yeah.
Just
in any event.
I think losing out on one event is okay to just negate that part. Like,
yes. Let's just say that I have made that mistake far too many times to blame Snuff for doing it.
Well, I don't think. I think it was the right call. I think if I'm him, I do the same thing, because I am so scared. Because Godalming is so weak, right? Godalming's at 2 HP and he has 2 items. If I'm in Budapest and he moves Mina in there, what's he gonna do? He's gonna have to move away from me, and that's not what he wants to be doing with me. He wants to be supplying. And if he stays in the hospital, he can supply at night, so we can have 2 items and then come out the next day. And then by that point, hopefully John Stewart is in a position where if I move Mina out and Dracula's there, I can respond.
Yeah. I mean, precisely, but
so
I think it's I think we've added a bit enough onto at least the stream part of this. So congratulations, Pizzawizard, for securing top position in the league phase. And sorry, Snuff, but you are now confined to round 1. So good effort.
We'll be seeing much more of him, I think. I very much doubt he's going to get knocked out. We'll see.
I will see, but
well,
there's plenty of good folks out there.
I gotta play Geo, and Geo's uniquely good at beating me.
Oh shit, he's your silver bullet?
Well, in Immortal, he just always seems to have this preternatural sense of when I am going to throw out a Heavenly Host. He's just very, very good at sensing when to fang my Heavenly Host. That is something Geo in particular is really good at with me. He just knows when I'm going to do it. So, we'll see.
Well, nonetheless, I'm sure that we both wish you luck in at least making the quarterfinals. And who knows, with seeing as your 5th place, if you make it through the quarterfinals, you'll be the first opponent of Mr. Green. And then after
Correct.
That,
I don't think I've ever played him ever, Mr. Green. I don't think I've ever played him in my life.
He is
That'll be interesting.
And then after that, you will have your chance at the semifinal. You will have your chance for revenge, against Pizzawizard.
You know what? I gotta double check.
Not sure if I'm actually not sure if that's true. Now that I think of it, but
hold on a second. I don't know why I had thought.
but
Yeah.
we'll talk about that. I suppose we can talk about that later. In any event, for any of those, I can keep in mind the stuff that we've. For any of those who are still watching.
You're right. Pizzawizard is going to be top. That's right. Okay.
Yeah, he now has enough wins to best Scott Sword. But so now it's set. The top 5 are set. But as I mentioned, as I mentioned earlier, folks, there will be one more game, the final game of the league faces today at 21 UTC, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, between Landsknecht as Hunters and Andrzat as Dracula. If either of you wants to join me or wants to stream it, be the host, I intend to do it if no one else is doing so. But
what time is it?
5 p.m. Eastern. But
it's not gonna work. That's like the one part of the day I can't do.
well, in any event, thank you everyone for watching, and